here are some organizational tips for freelancers. To begin with, I think a daily routine is so important, whether you are doing your creative hobbies and side businesses before a day job or after a day job, or if this is your full-time gig, you gotta get up, get dressed, get out of bed, make the bed, and get ready for the day. You gotta know yourself as well, know what your routines are, what your habits are. I know that I'm most productive in the morning, so if I have to work on a project that requires just a lot of deep thought and output, I'm gonna do it between 7 and 10 a.m. In the afternoons, my attention is a little more fragmented. I get distracted more easily, so that's when I will have meetings, have phone calls, return emails that I don't particularly want to return, or just require, kind of short sentences or sort of processing of to-do lists or items or information. And I didn't know that until I decided to experiment and to track how I spent my time every day. So from 10 to 10:11, I'm answering email. From 10:11 to 10:30, I am, checking the internet. It helped me figure out, okay, how do I optimize my own day toward my habits? And like we discussed yesterday, I would love to be able to just sit down and do great work whenever, but I can't do that. So if I can make the day a little more primed for success, I will. It's also great to have a dedicated workspace, whether that's a desk, a whole room in your house, your couch, or sitting at the foot of your bed instead of inside your bed. Having a place where you only go to work helps you be so much more productive. Setting deadlines is also a crucial part of my creative and entrepreneurial practices. To keep track of these, I have a number of Google Calendars that I set deadlines for myself, use the tasks to check things out throughout the week, and also invite my collaborators. That way I know that by Sunday night I'm going to have my podcast file ready, whether I want to or not, because my collaborators expect it to be there. I also have different calendars for different parts of my life. They are personal, day job, side jobs 1, 2, and 3, deadlines, home and health, and travel related. I also send calendar invites to people when we have a meeting or a phone call or a Skype session scheduled. That way there's no ambiguity. They accepted the invite. We are going to have this meeting whether, again, I want to or not, or I'm dressed or not. I have to get ready. I have to be there. I have to be present. So for me, deadline setting, it's kicking the butt. You should also find a system for communicating with and sending files to and from your team and stick with it. Now, I wish everybody in my life would use the same set of communications tools. That way I could just have everything in Slack or Skype and just have it there forever. But they don't, so I've had to figure out file management for myself. So what I do is I back up all my conversations to either a Google Doc if I'm going to collaborate on it, or Evernote for myself. That means copying iMessages, copying Skype messages, linking to files, using bookmarks of web pages that are important to a research project or whatever. And yes, it causes a little bit of extra work. We have to copy and paste that conversation, but I much prefer having everything searchable in one Evernote notebook to remembering, oh, did she send that to me over Skype or over iMessage, or was it an email? And keeping good records more broadly is so important. I'm a heavy user of Gmail filters, of Evernote tags, and of Google Drive subfolders and sort of categorization. You just have to make it part of your workflow. You have to, take images of and save receipts. Copy those conversations with collaborators, save files for clients in the versions that you've worked on them. And take notes. I take notes after every single conversation, Skype call, phone call, text message flurry that I have with someone that's work related. I'll write down what we covered. I'll write down my ideas that are popping into mind as I am recapping this, and then usually I'll send an email to that person afterwards saying, hey, just to recap, we discussed ABC, I'm going to work on D and E, send me F by Friday. Maybe it's overly businessy, maybe it's overly, obsessively organized or something, but it's useful for me and it keeps us on track, and I make sure that if I search my inbox for, when did we first discuss, the budget for 2017, I've got it right there. And I save all those in Evernote under the tag meeting notes. It's my biggest tag, I think. I just don't trust my memory, so I have built up the habit of outsourcing remembering things to my devices and to cloud storage. It's really worked for me. I also really like reading memoirs by entrepreneurs and freelancers, listening to them being interviewed on podcasts, following them on Twitter, doing email newsletters. I'll link some of my faves below. Those are my tips. I'd love to hear from you, and I will see you tomorrow for more VEDA.